Hi, I am Kedron on Two Wheels, and today we're going to be doing the review of the Firefly 5S. So, the Firefly 5S has been given to me by gearbest.com, link is up here. And so I'm going to be reviewing this one, and as you can see, this is a voiceover because once again I had microphone issues. So here we go. I don't know what I'm doing that movement with my hands for, but this is basically a GoPro clone. So let's open it. This is the case it came in. Okay, just this inside an envelope. And so I'm opening this for the first time, and there's the manual. Okay, which I'm not going to read because these are simple. Okay, there I just opened it. There's a little QR code to get the manual online, which is a nice touch, but what's this? This is the camera with a little lens cap, which is useful. A couple of buttons. And it feels as heavy as a GoPro, meaning very light. There's a lens cap, very useful. Very, very useful actually. And it feels really light because there's no battery in it, so that's why it was so light, because the battery is somewhere in the case. There's the cable. There's this weird cable, which I now know is the AV cable. Looks very odd. Not really sure how I'm going to use that, but whatever. And there's the battery. And there's nothing else. No case. So here I'm wondering, how am I going to use this? Because, what? How? This is an action camera. How am I supposed to use an action camera without a case? And then I look at the GoPro and I go, hang on a minute. These are exactly the same size, exactly the same shape. The lenses are exactly the same width, so... Ta-da! Ha-ha! It works. So, this camera, even though it's cheap, means you have to get some GoPro cases. On the other hand... Oh, and the microphone input works perfectly there. On the other hand, I have the great big advantage that I can simply use the GoPro cases I already have, and you can use the very sturdy and very well built GoPro cases with this camera, so that's a big plus. So yeah, this is the camera. I believe this is an equivalent to the... I'm fiddling with the cases being silly. I believe this is the equivalent to the GoPro 2 or the GoPro 3 Silver, so it should be just like the SJ4000 I have just reviewed. But we're going to do another side-by-side test to check that out. By the way, I failed the side-by-side test, and you will be hilariously looking at that and why. So let's go back into home. Check, this is my son scaring the shit out of me, making me drop the camera. Fortunately, the case did its work, so no damage to the camera, and some damage to my son, which is off camera and you're not going to see. And so here is finally the footage from these two cameras. Once again, I have put left side and right side into each of your ears if you're hearing from headphones. And you can also see I managed to fail horribly the angles for the two cameras. It's hard to align them, so sorry about that. However, you can see that the image is quite different. It's pretty easy to see which one's the GoPro. And it's so different that on this one I'm going to try and balance it out, making it slightly more uniform via post-production. Let's just do this little bend here and check out the quality. So you can see on the right side the colors are better defined and brighter on the right side. On the left side everything's kind of blue-ish. So I'm going to try and fix that, up in contrast, etc, etc, etc. Let's see how it copes here that we're facing the sun. Well, on the right side, sky's gone white, but you can see the roads. On the left side, sky's gone between blue and black, and you can't see much of anything. It's a bit odd. Okay, let's try and fix this. So what I've done is up brightness and contrast by, I think it's 37%, and brightness by 22, and now it looks much better. So for this camera you do need to touch the post-production thingies a bit, just a tiny bit. Now it looks a lot closer, even though it's got a bluish tint to the camera, and the GoPro, which is on the right, obviously it's pretty easy to figure out that one, has a more natural feel. This looks a bit too blue for comfort. It's a bit odd though. And you can see the license plate here perfectly on the right one. On the left one you can't quite read it. So yeah, this is kinda like a GoPro 2-ish. I'd say the sensor's somewhere between the 1 and the 2. But it is packaged just like a GoPro 3. Hang on. Ah, this is a bit better. You can still see the slight bluish tinge, even though I have upped brightness and contrast to make it stand out a little bit better. That's why the sky is all white, which is the same effect you get on the GoPro. Remember, we are riding into the sun, which is always hard for any camera. Although the GoPro does cope with it slightly better, but under these conditions it's workable. Oh, it changed colors there, so it's automatically doing auto white balance, but it doesn't seem to be very effective. If it's directly into the sun, everything goes blue. If it's not looking directly into the sun, it suddenly goes much better. Look, it's going blue again, now it's going yellow again, and now I'm turning away from the sun, it goes okay. So I'm pretty sure after this straight, it's a left bend, and it should go blue again. Let me see. There we go. And now it's going to balance again. Yeah, sort of. And at the end of this straight, which is about 600 meters long, it's going to turn left and straight into the sun. Let's see how that goes. Sound-wise, lots of wind noise on the left, not so much on the right. And no, it's gone yellow, so I don't really understand why it keeps going blue every now and then. Probably something to do with some of the angles. I really like how the GoPro looks at the sidewalk instead of the road, but yeah, that's a fail on my part. And that's me having a bit of fun on the RC125. Okay, movement-wise it does cope. Color-wise, there's something odd with it. And it's not quite as sharp. Overall, I'd say the SJ400 seems to be better than this one. So this, I'd put this one, image quality-wise, slightly under the SJ4000. So you can go and take a look. It's the previous week's video. It's easy to see. And yeah, I'd say this is slightly worse than that. And it also has a big disadvantage in that it brings absolutely nothing apart from the camera. And that's just about it. And it costs $75. Which, if I remember correctly, is somewhat what the SJ4000 costs. And that one brought a buttload of gear. So that's a bit disappointing. I have to say, I did expect slightly more. I really did. I'm a bit disappointed in this camera. Well, eventually I might do a SJ400 Firefly test to compare the two, but off the bat I'd say the SJ4000 does better work. This one, when the auto white balance is working correctly and everything's not blue, if you then, in post-production, slightly tune brightness and contrast, it does its work. Sort of. But then again, it is a relatively cheap camera. It depends on what you want. And so now for fairness sake, I have also edited the GoPro footage, lowering the brightness slightly and increasing contrast to make it slightly closer. And so you can see the potential, and I still haven't done any color correction or sharpness, so that would be just cheating. So I'm going to remove both effects now. And so both effects are gone, as you can see. So this is completely raw. So if I'm riding away from the sun, the Firefly does do a good job, okay? Relatively good job. If the sun is anywhere near the camera, just forget about it. And even so, I'm not 100% happy with the image even so. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to change the camera into just the left side. And so now you can see the full picture. There's my helmet even. And you can see, like this, you can't really notice the difference or notice it less, but yeah, I guess this is, I'd put it somewhere like a GoPro 1 quality range. And this is the right side, the GoPro footage, where you can clearly see the dash and read the dash and maybe even read the small numbers in the dash. And you can clearly see it is miles better. Now again, side by side, and check out what happens when I cross the sun on the rolling bounce. And it goes dark. GoPro, not much of an issue. So there's that. And so, as a final verdict, I have to say I am a tad disappointed. I'm sorry, GearBest, you guys sent me the camera free of charge. It was awesome, I paid $0 for it. That's brilliant, awesome, but this product, it needs improving. It needs to be a lot cheaper, because your competitors, the SJ4000, I missed the name for a moment there, costs the same, and it brings, I think, slightly better quality, but it's kinda on par, but it seems to be slightly better quality. And it also brings a waterproof case, at least 2 adhesive pads, maybe 3, at least 2 90-degree adapters so you can position the camera, 2 tripods adapters, charging cable, or you bring the charging cable too. It brings a whole host of extra features which you can see on the other review, and this one does not, for the same price, and the video quality is a bit lower, so I have to say I am a bit disappointed. I expected more from it. So sorry, I tried to be positive. Well, why would you buy this? If you have a GoPro 3 and you want a second camera just for some odd shots, this is possible, because this way all your adapters for the GoPro work. However, the microphone adapter does not work, so there's no external sound input, making it also, just like the SJ4000, useless for motovlogging. Maybe if you want a weird shot, somewhere too dangerous to put a GoPro because it's too expensive, maybe as a secondary camera. But even so, even as a secondary camera, there's just too much of a difference between the footages. Look, on the GoPro I could see look at the license plates. I can read the license plate on the GoPro now, and just slightly later can I see on the other one. It's not that it's bad, it's just that it is, well, I'll put it as a GoPro 1 quality, or a GoPro 3 white quality. Yeah, this is what this is. This is a copy of the GoPro 3 white. And so the GoPro 3 white is now the Hero, simply, or the Hero Plus, which costs $200. This one costs $75. So it sounds like a good deal, right? Thing is, to get this one working, you have to spend $75 on the camera, plus $50 for a housing, plus $20 for 2 adhesive pads, plus $20 for a assortment of adapters. So that's $90 plus the $75 the camera costs. That's $165 versus the GoPro, which costs $200. And even worse, if you buy the very bare bones, very basic GoPro Hero, period, which is the GoPro 1 in address, and it should have about the same quality as this, and that costs $129 or $130. So yeah, there's that. And so that's it. Cager out.